Welcome back to Soulful Prosperity. Today, I have the honor of welcoming back again the beautiful and talented Brenee Royalty. In our last conversation, you already know how powerfully she speaks about purpose, relationships, and abundance. Brenee is an author, speaker, and consultant dedicated to helping people cultivate deeper connections, build trust, and most importantly, step into their purpose. As the founder of Be Royal Enterprises LLC, she blends both personal growth with real, raw conversations about intimacy, communication, and emotional fulfillment. Because living in your purpose is not just about success, it's about who you show up as in every part of your life. Her book, Abundance in the Bedroom, explores how relationships thrive when built on trust, effort, and true understanding. And through her Living Your Purpose mentorship, she helps people break through limiting beliefs, align with their true calling, and integrate purpose into everything they do. I'm really excited to hear more about the book and all that is going on with Brenee. I know today's conversation will be just as powerful, if not more. So let's dive in. Welcome back to Soulful Prosperity, Brenee. How are you?
I'm great, Jen. Happy to be here and excited to have the conversation today.
So much has changed since you were last on. You have done a lot of amazing things.
Yeah, I feel like was it over a year ago now that I was last on the podcast. I feel that I was just beginning to kind of figure things out, and from then we actually started coaching together. And at the time, I had released my book, but I just didn't know what to do next. It's like, okay, it's out on Amazon, and it's like, okay, do I hire a marketer or do I promote it myself? I felt a little bit stuck, and so when we started to work together, that really helped me to build a business around my book. And so what I'm doing now is I'm mentoring others on discovering their purpose, because me writing the book wasn't just about the book. It was me connecting to my purpose of using my gifts of written and spoken word to inspire others. So I needed to know what was the next steps. And so I've been able to build a mentorship business where, again, I teach others how to discover their purpose. And that includes everything from knowing who you are, knowing your values, going back into your childhood and figuring out, because a lot of our clues are from our early years, being authentic and what does fulfillment and abundance look like to you, creating the life that you desire. But I also help first time authors with the process of becoming an author, because they say only 3% of the people that want to write a book actually write it. So mentoring those individuals, because I feel we all have a story to tell and we should use our voices to help inspire others, because there's always one person that benefits from you sharing your experiences. So I do that, and then I meet my clients where they're at. Like, some people may have some things written down, they don't know where to go from there. Some people just need to come overcome the limiting belief that, oh, I'm not a good writer. So I always say, when you see New York Times bestseller, it doesn't say best writer. So it's about being able to tell stories that everyone
Mm,
wants to hear. So
yes.
that's what I've been up to, and I feel like for this journey, it's just all about who I'm becoming, because I'm still on the journey. It's not a destination. It's
Yes.
yeah, it's
Yes. It's
the
all about
evolution.
that's what soulful prosperity really means. It's about becoming, not getting, right? Everybody's into like, well, I want $1 million and I want this car and I want this house and I want this and I want that. I want to put my kids through college. And all of that is great. There's nothing wrong with that. You know me, I think we can have it all, but it's really about who you become through the process. And so take us back, right? Where did you come up with this idea? And I remember first hearing about the title of the book, and like I knew you a little bit, and then I was like, the book is called what? So take
Yes,
us
the
back.
book. I feel the book can be very triggering. Honestly, the book really started from my childhood, because when I was a kid, everyone used to talk to me about their relationship problems. And I had adults calling me to they talk to me about their relationship with their kids. I'm like 12.
That's
So
hilarious.
I've always grown up, and strangers tell me their stories, but I think it's part of just my gift. So a lot of people tell me their stories, and I just listened a lot over the years. And then as I got older, it's my own experiences and dealing in relationships. And it's like I noticed that there's a lot of misunderstandings between men and women. So I've always, and that's my hot topic. If you ever want me to talk a lot, talk to me about relationships. And when I say relationships, it's not just intimate relationships, relationships at work, relationships with family, relationships with friends, relationships with the body, relationships with the self, because that is gonna be my genre of writing, is different types of relationships. So it's just something I just was, I guess, a gift of listening. And I want to say this is about maybe, I don't have the time frame, like maybe 5 or 6 years ago. There's a book, another book that's not saying it's similar, but it's called Four Things Women Want from a Man. I saw the book and I just like, oh, okay. And then the person happened to be speaking down the street, and I just like, oh, I know who that is. I just went and listened to the person speak. They didn't speak anything about the book, but I liked what they were saying, and they were selling the book afterward. I bought the book because I was curious. It piqued my curiosity. I bought the book and I was like, it was interesting because I think it helped to summarize what, okay, I agreed. And, with some of the things. And I bought the book on a family vacation to Jamaica. And so there was a lot of discussion between the couples. Okay, what do you guys think are the four things that women want from men? And dead silence from the guys. Dead silence. It was just like, everyone was just like, why are you asking us? And it's interesting because two of the couples were married for like 10 years. One was like in a dating for 5 years. So it just something that the experience stuck with me. I'm like, okay, it's interesting that, people don't know what their partner wants. And then fast forwarding to me and my purpose of, connecting to, I finally realized maybe this is 3 or 4 years ago. Okay, I'm supposed to be an author and be a writer because I've been doing it for 10 years as a Toastmaster, writing inspirational speeches. So I was like, what's the first book I'm supposed to write about? And I asked the universe and I got back relationships. I'm like, hell no, like I don't have a successful relationship to taunt. Like I was, an unofficial therapist, but I don't have a degree in psychology. I'm like, no, I literally said to God, give me something else to write about. And I heard relationships again. And at the time, like I had maybe 6 months, 7 months before, I don't know if I've gotten out of like a very, what do I call this relationship? I'll call it a traumatic relationship or just not a healthy relationship had ended. And I always knew from that day that the pain that I experienced had a deeper purpose. And I ended up writing. So it ended up, that's what I wrote about. Honestly, I had written, if you read the book, the forward, I had written, I like to write out my feelings. I had written a letter, I was going to burn it. And then somebody just told me to deliver it to him. And that became the soundboard for the book. So I took a painful experience and turned it into a loving piece of art. And the framework for the book was pretty much written in 2 days. It just downloaded, and I was like, I knew this is what I was supposed to be doing. It just flowed, and from there, I spent 5 months in Jamaica writing the bulk of the book, and it was just an experience of figuring out how to publish it because I never published a book before. And do I go traditional publishing? Do I do independent? And it was a very rewarding experience because I did make mistakes, but I was able to believe in myself. And that's what the book is about too, because when we're doing something that we've never done before, we're going to have a lot of self-doubt, but to keep on pushing forward. And I always went back to my why, because when I sent my book to the editors and I started to have a lot of self-doubt. Again, I don't have a degree in psychology. I'm not a trained therapist. I don't even have a successful relationship. How am I going to put this book out? But again, I went back to my why. This is what God wanted me to write about. And it was really for me, my own healing, writing about the book. And it was like where I was 5 years ago, but it helps others to write, and it's not just romantic or intimate relationships. I feel it's helped me a lot with all of my relationships.
So what is the cusp of the cusp? What's abundance in the bedroom? What is it? Communication, right?
Yes. And one thing I also want to add about the title, and the title is something completely different. I laugh about that title. I'm not even going to mention what the original title was.
Man.
But so also where the title was inspired from, fix my headphones, is that I read this book called The Soul of Money, and the title was attractive. And I read the book, I'm like, this is kind of about this lady's life. But it piqued my interest. So it's like, abundance in the bedroom. It's like, it perks people up. It's extremely triggering. I know it. And there's a certain type of person that's going to look at the book and say, I'm curious about that book. And there's a certain person that's going to look at him like, oh, I don't want to read that. But abundance in the bedroom, yes, comes down to having a great relationship first and communication. And it really it goes into the dynamics between the differences between masculine and feminine communication. I feel that we're different creatures. And I think most of the time we don't know that. It took me a long time. Like, they're just different creatures. But to celebrate the masculine and feminine, I feel like we have a lot of similarities. And at the end of the day, we all desire fulfilling relationships, whether it's inside or outside the bedroom. And the book really touches also on mental health, because part of mental health is being able to express how you feel. So there, after every section, I write about how a woman feels if this need is met. Right. And the book is written from both men and women, I see from both perspectives. Right. And to be able to respectfully express our needs and share how we feel, because I grew up in a space where what the hell was an emotion? I didn't know how to share feelings. I knew when someone was mad or someone was happy, but I just learned that journey started during the pandemic when I went to therapy for the first time. I was like, oh, feelings and emotions. Wow.
Yeah, I
And
know.
how to communicate it. And that's probably why I may have struggled in some of my relationships, because we don't know what to communicate. Honestly, sometimes we just don't know ourselves, and we expect others to fix us, or to be our everything. And I always had a good friend who said that people aren't super Walmart. You're not going to get everything from one person. You might get 70 to 80% of what you desire, but a lot of it is you have to cultivate what you want in your life and show others how to treat you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so true. And, I raised two daughters who don't know how to communicate their emotions, because that's where I was until not that long ago. And then it's funny, we talk about the feminine and the masculine, but when you're a woman who's been raised in survival mode, you have very masculine tendencies, especially when it comes to communication. So that was the problem in my relationships, about to be divorced for the second time, two children with two different fathers. Relationships are not my specialty. And it's so funny because my last marriage, I really thought this was it, because I thought I had done all the work. And I think sometimes you do all the work and then you have to apply it in a relationship. And, it has to have two people that are willing to communicate in order for that to work. And so you learn, like, you also have to attract a person who's going to be willing to communicate. You can't change them and you can't fix them, but once you realize, I think, and really understand that, maybe I'll attract somebody who can communicate next time. But it all boils down to communication. Pretty much every major failure in my life is due to poor communication.
I completely agree, and that's, like I said, really what the book it really is about is, the four things are thoughtfulness, being mature, and making an effort to communicate consistently and understanding a woman sexually. But really, everything the theme throughout the book is, how we're communicating, and to be able to communicate to someone else is understanding, like, who we are and knowing what our needs are. Like, for me, something that's a deal breaker if someone does not protect me, because that's a
Yeah,
genuine
me
need as women.
too.
Yeah, because as women, I speak about that in the book, is that women have,
That's why my marriage just crumbled. Like, didn't have my back whatsoever.
and that's like it's like death to a woman. Like, so I do speak about the innate needs, and women, like, security. Like, we need to feel safe. If we don't feel safe, it's like, if someone doesn't protect me.
Yeah, and it's tough because I'm a real mama bear. Like, I protect everybody, and I'm like, or I've changed quite a bit. I'm not out there to protect everybody. Like, at this point, everybody has to kind of like take care of themselves too. But still, that's just who I am. Like, in a crisis, you want me. At the ends of the world, you want me. And whoa, I think that what happens is there's a mixed message. Like, oh, I can take care of myself. But I also see that with my friends and my family. Like, they never check in, like, are you okay? So I have spent the last 2 years having conversations like, I really need you to ask me. I probably don't need you to do anything for me. I'm extremely independent and self sufficient, but that doesn't mean it doesn't hurt. That doesn't mean I'm not scared. That doesn't mean I'm not struggling at times. Yeah, I'm going to be the one who gets up and gets dressed and does everything I have to do. But that was communication. I just needed to communicate that to my people. Like, this is important to me. I do need this. I know I give off this vibe like I'm fiercely independent, but I think, so what? Like, check on the people that are the most independent. They're the ones that really need to hear it.
Yeah, I completely agree because I'm that way too. It's like, oh, Bray doesn't need anything. Like she's got
Yeah.
it all,
Yeah.
and it comes down for us to be aware enough that hey, that's how others see us, and they're like, hey, like it is nice that you check on me. I don't always need you to do anything.
That's
It's just
my
like,
love
hey,
language. Yeah.
I'm thinking of you. So
Yeah.
that's definitely very important. And yeah, like I said, this relaying that. I feel like a lot we need to relay a lot of things to our partners because again we're different creatures like as when we're talking about the innate needs, women need to feel safe, secure, we need to talk. Men don't have those same needs. They're like like, so it's like
Most men. Yeah.
most,
Most.
I mean it's not as important. Like men more focused on, I feel innate need is like respect. Like that's if a man desires respect more than love, right? So
It equals love to them.
yes.
It
So
equals love. One of the other things that I think that men don't get and women get, but make it men's responsibility,
mhm.
is we got to feel sexy. And like, if a woman's not feeling sexy, it's not going to happen. And so, but I think we as women kind of make that men's responsibility to make us feel desired and sexy, which, yes. But if we don't feel that way and we're not taking care of ourselves and we're not cherishing our bodies and doing the things like the bubble baths and some journaling and taking time and space for ourselves, if we're just frazzled, right? Especially women with children, even women without children. It's like, we just, like, I know you have your mom and, you not take care of, but you're involved with a lot of people in your family and different things in your job. Like, we have to make that a priority because you can't have abundance in the bedroom if you don't feel sexy, right? Because that's when we're like, yeah, no, not tonight.
Right, of course, like definitely the self-care and self-care. I feel like self-care both is physical, but also it is the inner work. Is I've gone to,
Yeah,
I think I did 3 stints with therapy, and me having the courage to live in my purpose and that journey. And also self-care is setting boundaries.
yes.
Setting boundaries is very,
Oh,
very sexy. So I feel that on this journey, which I've been more deeply, I mean, I've been on the journey for 15 years, but really more so deeply involved the last 3 or 4. I feel
yeah,
like my relationships have changed because I have changed.
yeah,
And I feel that sometimes you always want to blame, and I speak about it in the book, you want to blame the other person. No, this person did this person did that. But a lot of times we have some type of fault ourselves, or there's something that we need to shift. Because I feel like anyone that
yeah,
comes into my life is that they're teaching me, they're bringing something up that I need to be aware.
totally,
So
totally.
yeah,
One of the biggest lessons I learned this year about boundaries, because I'm a recovering people pleaser, which I would never
me
have
too.
believed. But I would never have believed it, and other people wouldn't have believed it because I kind of came off tough and blah, blah blah. But no, most of my decisions, actions, choices, everything in life was really about what other people thought I should be and me wanting to meet that expectation. So it's a little different variety. I think there's lots of versions of people pleasing. So yeah, but boundaries are not about a set of rules that you hand out and say, it's how you embody how you want to be treated. And you begin that embodiment by treating yourself the way. Ooh, something happened.
Something happened.
Yeah, hold on. I don't even know where to stream it. Okay. So we'll fix that. Yeah, my computer did something really weird. But yeah, it's about embodying boundaries, and it begins with how you treat yourself, and that self-care, putting yourself first, taking the time and space. And when you begin to embody this, it's like you don't need to go out and give a set of rules. It People just respect it. Like it's just
It's an
known.
energy. It's an
It's
energy that they
energy.
give off.
Yeah. Which was like, so here was the fear, because my biggest fear, communication again, was always about having difficult conversations.
Mhm.
And that was, when I talked about all my biggest failures boiled down to communication, all of it really was fear of having difficult conversations. But when you are really embodying the self-care and the boundaries are there, you don't have to communicate them. I mean, sometimes you may have to, but
Mhm.
you're not walking around like, this is how I want to be treated. It's just given. Yeah, it's an energy.
Oh,
It's
definitely
such a
feel
sweet
that.
fit.
Yeah, and like I said, I grew up the same way. Being people pleasing was always about make sure everyone else is okay, and that's what I was doing, and I think it was probably detrimental to relationships because
Oh my God, yeah.
we're
I didn't think
giving,
I was
giving, giving.
worthy. I didn't think I
Yeah,
was
I had
worthy.
the same thing. Yeah, it was like we're soul sisters. Like underneath, I never realized it because I achieved so much in my life with my
Mhm.
career and I was an
Right.
athlete. But underneath, it's saying I'm not worthy of this. And
Yes. If I do this, you'll love me. If I do that, and
right,
I take care of this and I fix this and I do, then you'll love me, never leave me, and never hurt me. Yeah, not the case.
no, and I feel like men could pick up on that and take advantage of it a little bit. Like they kind. I feel like my experience. Like I'm
Well,
not
why
saying that.
wouldn't they? We're handing it to them on a silver platter. Like, come on. Like,
Right, but that's what I'm saying is that.
that's like being mad at a dog for stealing the pork chop, right? No, it's not. That's human nature. I don't even know that they consider it taking advantage, because I offered it all up. Like, let me do this. Let me, right?
Yeah, I feel like it is human nature. Yeah, but yeah, it is human nature that people know what they can get away with, and there's the
Yeah.
tendency to test. Like I think there's tendency to test. Like I'm gonna test you. So
Oh
when
yeah.
someone is very boundary like and can say no, and just no is a complete sentence, you definitely get the respect.
So amazes me when I look back now on, my marriage that's crumbled.
Mhm.
Um, there were so many signs and so many red flags, and I just like sped past them. Like, oh yeah, no, okay, no, but like, it's crazy. But uh, I've grown. I'm a much better version of myself. I don't even really desire a relationship, but sometimes, and I'm open to it. I'm open to it. So it'll be interesting to see, and for you too. Like how much we've grown, how much we've changed. But I truly believe that we will. If for me, I mean, I'm 50 something and I have my plans, so who knows? But when you are ready, that abundance in the bedroom will surely be the case.
Right, and then so as I said, that has some converse. Abundance in the bedroom can be abundance of peace. It can be abundance of
Oh,
love.
absolutely.
Right. Yes.
Absolutely. And that's one thing with my husband that like was a beautiful part of our marriage, was the intimacy was not all about sex, for
Right.
a period of time. It was about, traveling together and, working as a team and just enjoying each other's company, with whether I'm reading a book and you're reading the paper, or, watching a movie that we really enjoy together. um, and I enjoyed that very, very, very
That
much.
was quality time and some of the love languages that I
Yeah.
think I write about that as well, is understanding like my love language and understanding my partner's love languages, and then there's two new love languages that came out. They're more based on emotional connection
Mhm.
because Gary, I think it's Gary Chapman wrote the five love
Mhm.
languages, so it's written a little bit from the masculine
Great
perspective,
book.
which is nothing wrong with that. But these two new love languages are shared experiences and emotional security, and shared experiences about the thoughtfulness of the bond and the time together. So it could be cooking a new recipe or going salsa dancing. And then
Yeah.
emotional security, which is my number one, because I'm really, if I don't, again,
Mm.
goes, if I don't feel safe, seen, and some place where I can be authentic, I could share my fears, my dreams. That's
Me
love to
too.
me. And then followed by, I always say you can't really have touch without quality time. Like, how can someone really touch you? Like, more of like holding hands and cuddling is they're not spending time with you. So knowing that and being able to communicate that to my partner, and also having that person communicate it back to me. So anyone that I am involved with, I do I do have them take the love language quiz because it does help.
Yeah.
It does help.
They have it for the workplace. Good. And I recommend it for everybody who's a manager or a team leader or a part of a team. It's so powerful because, like, literally in my marriage, I could see that we both really thought we were showing how much we love each other, but we were not speaking each other's love languages, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so you could be, and then you end up resentful. You're like, I do all of this for you. But if it's not converting into love for them, it's converting into something else. It doesn't matter how much you're doing it. It's not effective. It's not getting through. It's not, um,
Yeah.
yeah. And,
And
and, and one thing, guys, like sometimes we just want to cuddle.
there's nothing further. I mean, like what?
What to cuddle?
See, I write about that too. Is I had someone I was dating. I was like, I just want to cuddle, and he's just like, what is this doing for you? Like he's like, I don't understand. Like this is everything to me, but it's to him. It's like,
Right.
he's like, so it's just
And
again,
that,
yeah.
yeah, like not possible. You're like pushing that hand back, like just hold me.
Right. And again, this, again, being able to communicate that and how that's something that like it's going back to what I was saying. I didn't grow up like knowing how to share feelings and I learned to communicate to a male like I feel. And that he can connect to that a lot more when I just like blah, like a lot of it, like, what are you? I don't know what you're saying. I
Right.
feel this, I need this directly. And it's like, okay.
Yeah.
And he's able to comprehend it a lot more. And I think something, I don't remember where I'm seeing this, where sometimes guys will go with the quote unquote crazy woman, like, because a crazy, not to say crazy, literally, but like someone who's a little bit all over the place because they're always telling everyone how they feel. Where
Yeah.
sometimes the more reserved, which I can be more stoic, they struggle with because I don't know how she feels. So
Yeah.
again, it's important to learn how to be in touch. And that's been a journey for me, is getting inside my body and expressing those
Yeah.
needs. And I think something big that I learned too, and this goes, you spoke about the workplace. I always felt that I had to be responsible for everyone else's feelings. Like if I share how I'm really feeling, I'm going to hurt that other person. So I would hold back. And honestly, I'm hurting everyone with that. So knowing that we're not responsible for how the other person feels, and that if you're just sharing from a loving place with the intention of moving things forward.
Yeah, that was a big lesson with the people pleasing. Like one of the things I've observed, like, I felt so responsible for a lot of mom guilt and, kind of meddling and trying to fix and control and be everything to make up for it. And like once I really let go with my daughters, they're thriving. Like I really wasn't helping. I really wasn't helping. And that's what I was saying about before. I started to touch on it, like where, caring for people, sometimes the best way for you to care for people is to take care of yourself and really just be the example and shine that light of like, self-love, taking this time and this space to take proper care of yourself, to do things that, light up your creativity, bring you joy. I'm the grandma sleigh riding down the hill. That's me. Right. And it's important to me to like, I recognize how much joy that gives me and I prioritize it. Not because I need to, I have to spend time with my granddaughter. So it's like just a little shift. It's like that brings me joy. So I'm doing more of that. And living in that way is really one of the best ways that you can take care of people. So in a relationship where you know, allow each other that space for whatever it is that makes them feel good without you and feel good about that. It's important. It's important. But you
No,
have to know what you need.
yeah, I definitely agree because the person that inspired my book, I was very angry, very upset, and I think what was challenging is because I still saw this person in a professional setting, so I couldn't get. It was so most of the time you break up with someone, you don't really live that close. You don't have to see them, but this was someone I still had to see and interact with, and it was challenging because I wanted because I had to see him. Well, I don't have it was kind of hard not to see him.
Right.
So I just wanted to
Inevitable.
talk. Like I wanted to, and he would never give me the opportunity. And I was just so mad. Like I felt like he was being selfish, and I was angry at him. But it took me. It was. I was grieving. Like I lost like a really good friend. I lost some. We could honestly, we both knew that we could
Yeah,
have built a life together. And it took me years, but I realized, when I say what does forgiveness mean to me, and I did share with him eventually, is that forgiveness means I'm 100% accepting the situation. I accepted it. I was 100% grateful and 100% giving grace because he was struggling with something. That is why he couldn't talk with me.
exactly. It's not
He
all
was struggling.
about us.
It wasn't all, yeah. It wasn't all about me. And it's like the more and more I did the inner work, that's when things really, really changed. And it's tough because I feel like when I saw him, it was like triggering. It's just like,
Yeah, I
it was
bet. No, I
so.
know. I'm going through it. My husband's a block away, it's
And God is doing that for a reason because I'm the type of person that things got tough, I'd run away. It's like there's no running away. You have to sit here and deal
no.
with this.
But on the flip side, I've realized like I've kind of outgrown where I am physically in life, and I've made some big decisions. I'm giving up my New York residency in at the end of the summer, and I'm gonna be like a digital nomad, and that feels so good. And it's funny too when we talk about those boundaries. I know that if I had made this decision 5 years ago, people in my life, like my mom or like certain friends and certain people would be like, "What are you doing? What do you mean? Like, where are you gonna be? And what are you gonna like?" You know what everybody says now? That's amazing. That sounds great. That's not like, well, like, and that because my energy has changed. And so I just want to make that point. Like communication is not always verbal. It begins with the embodiment of what's important to you and who you want to be and how you want to be. And then the world just catches up with you.
I totally agree. I feel that my relationships have changed because of who I'm showing up as, and I
Yeah.
always say that abundance in the bedroom was a symbolism of me breaking away from the good girl mentality. I grew up, I was
Yes.
well behaved, straight A's, and so when I came on the abundance in the bedroom, everyone was just shocked. And I think because we do have this, what are other people going to think, and people are not going to approve of this, and I just stopped caring. And it was an evolution. Like I don't feel like I'm 100% completely don't care, but I'm not as self-conscious as I used to be. It's like I'm living my life, and it's attracted more genuine friendships, and I have more
Hmm.
genuine relationships with with family. And it's some friendships have fallen away because they weren't
Yeah.
true in the first
Yes.
place. So it impacts all aspects of our lives.
Yeah. It all boils down to knowing who you are. Like really knowing who you are, not the emotions, not the reactions, not any of those things. It's knowing who you are deeply, and then everything just begins to shift. And that doesn't, like there are times when you're not going to remember, and you get sidetracked, and you get lost in different emotions and reactions and whatnot. But if you can just keep coming back to that, I know who I am. I know who I am. I know who I am. It's really powerful.
Yeah, definitely agree. And for me, like I've done a lot of courses and inner work. So sometimes, I do get away from it. I get more analytical and into my logical brain. So I at least spend about 15 minutes doing reading books or watching certain videos on YouTube that help to remind me of who I am. And
Yes.
yeah,
You need reminders. Like that's and this is why I'm wearing a butterfly. This is why, I'm not wearing it, but I have my snake ring. These are things that remind me of transformation, just whatever, the journey that I'm on. My whole room is filled with reminders. I mean, look at here. I've got my magic shell.
oh yeah, I remember the
You
story of
know?
that one.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I keep it all around me because we need the reminders because especially nowadays, there's a lot of noise.
Yes, there is. I can't tell the last time I watched the news. I don't really.
You don't need to. I just want to
Yeah, that's what
I
I'm
just
saying. But
like,
some people love the news, and it's filling
but
your
it's
brain with
I
negativity.
know I may not know deep policy, but I pretty much know everything that's going on in the world, and I don't ever need to read a newspaper or watch it. And I don't even spend a lot of time on social media. It's just all right there, no matter what. So it's like, I respect people. Oops, I just I set my bird on fire.
Oh shoot!
Well,
And it's not to tell others what to do, but sometimes
no, but
it's
knowing
what
what
we're
makes
consuming. Well, it's the same thing like with food. If we consume a bunch of garbage, what do you think is going to come out? So sometimes the news can just be overconsumption of the regular news can be, and TV in general just depends. Like, what are you watching? So, and again, sometimes we love a little bit of like spice, and I'm not saying, but being aware of, okay, I'm watching this for entertainment, but
Entertain, exactly. And also, character study, or I've taken a lot of different approaches, because that was one of my biggest vices. But also one of the things that brought me the most pleasure was like binge watching. And so now I've just switched it up. I do a lot of PBS, BBC, like, period stuff, and just, and then like just doing a character study, or watching the hero's journey in everything. And then, I love to approach life like a movie or a TV show too. Like, like, okay, so here's the enemy, and these are the things that I'm going to do. And in the end, I'm going to win.
all right, we're all acting in our own movie. And going back to the point you made about having reminders in your home, I do feel like our home should be our vision board, and
Yeah.
I've done that where everything reminds me of everything I desire. So before I moved to Jamaica for those 5 months, like I had my on YouTube, there was this, it was a video of like the beach and the palm trees, and literally I had that same image in Jamaica. Literally, I saw the beach and the palm trees.
I'm
But I said,
staring at the ocean right now.
exactly. I do desire this healthy relationship. I have pictures of healthy relationships. I have pictures of things that I really love. I mean, I love exercise and being healthy. So I have like my equipment and healthy food in the fridge. So just things that bring us joy. And so yeah, every time we wake up and we're moving around our house, it should be a reflection of who we are, what we desire. It's like a living vision board, and that we embody
Yeah.
the emotions.
Yep. Amen. Well, I am so proud of you. I love how far you've come in a year and all that you're doing, and people will be blessed to be working with you. So, how do they find the book? And then also, if somebody wants to explore your mentorship, how do they do that?
Yeah, so the book is Abundance in the Bedroom, and it is on Amazon. And it's also on Kindle. So if you want to do more of a ebook, and also if you're one of those individuals that likes to listen to books, it is available on Audible and iTunes.
And the pen name is Brenee Royalty or Brenee Robinson?
My pen name is Brenee Royalty.
Okay, I just wanted to make
Yeah,
sure,
yeah, yeah,
because
yes,
sometimes you're trying to find a book and there's a couple with the same
yes,
name. Perfect.
yes.
And
And the mentorship, I don't know if you could drop the well, if you
well,
drop the
you're
link.
listening, so read it out loud.
So it is beroyalty.mykajabi.com/purpose dash mentorship. But if that is a little bit too much to remember, you can find me on Instagram at Brenee Royalty Speaks, and I have my links on my Instagram.
And all of this will be, in the about info for the podcast.
Yes, and I have 2 tracks. So I do have any individuals that's looking to become a mentor, become a author. I have the mentorship for that, but I also have a mentorship for those that are again looking to discover and live abundantly in their purpose and create a fulfilling life. I have that track as well.
Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, thanks for coming back, and keep growing. I love it.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure. We always have great conversation. I feel like it flew by. I feel like we,
It does. It
yeah.
does fly by. All right. Thanks everybody for tuning in.